Hello, everybody, again. Welcome to Aquarian Pearls, Pearls of Wisdom. And I'm so delighted and honored today. We're joined by Dilly Kirby, owner of Elizabeth Blair Fine Pearls in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hi, Dilly.
Hi, how are you? Thank you
Really
so much
well.
for inviting me.
Thank you and welcome. Dilly, well, I always start off asking you the big question, like, where did you grow up and go to school and to college, and what did you study, your early life?
Okay, I grew up in Michigan, where I've ended up. I grew up in Maryland, California, had college in California, adult life in Florida, and then I'm back to Michigan. I did college at UCLA, and I got a Bachelor's of Science in design. I went to be an architect or an advertising specialist, and they didn't have those courses until you had your unless it was for your master's. So I quickly re-geared, and I got a design degree from UCLA.
Fantastic.
It was something that served me very, very well later in life because it was the theory of design. So I learned how to do a lot of different types of problem solving, but it was not a degree that you could really roll with right out of college. So I got a job with Xerox.
in Los Angeles, in California?
Well, in the Bay Area, I couldn't get a job in LA to save my life. So I went back up to the Bay Area and started cold calling for Xerox in Oakland, California.
Wow, wow.
My first sale was to Reggie Jackson, the baseball player, and he answered the door in his bathrobe.
Fantastic. That was an auspicious start to life. Wow. Yeah. And how long did you last in the Xerox business?
Oh, just a year and a half.
Great. And then how did you segue into the jewelry, into the pearl business? Did that come much later or quite soon after?
No, it was really quick. I hated the job at Xerox, and I heard about a headhunter in San Francisco, and he read my resume and he said, you look sort of, and your resume reads sort of artsy fartsy. And he said, how do you feel about pearls? And I said, I love pearls. It was just that easy. Wow. So I interviewed at this little boutique in Union Square called Boring Buffet.
Yes.
It was a combination of two women, Dee Boring and Pam Buffet. Dee was a customer of GUMP'S. Pam was an outstanding salesperson at GUMP'S, and they decided to form their own company, and they specialized in extraordinary freshwater pearls from Lake Biwa. They were specifically Biwa pearls. I mean, they didn't even have Chinese rice in those days, you know, the rice freshwaters. So
when was that, Dilly? What year did you start there?
In 1981.
Fantastic. How amazing.
Yeah, it was great. And Pam Kramlich was a fantastic designer. She had an incredible aesthetic. A lot of it was very GUMP'S based, you know, very clean lines. And I still to this day am inspired by that simple, elegant San Francisco woman aesthetic. And
GUMP'S was the beautiful department store in Union Square, right? Wasn't it? Yes. Is it still? Yes. Is it still a going concern?
It's in its third iteration. It's mostly. I think it's been bought and sold 2 or 3 times, but it's back. I just saw that their catalog was out again, and many years. Just a quick GUMP'S story. Many years after I left Boring Buffet and I'd started my own company, GUMP'S called me and they offered me a full page in their catalog to do a suite of Tahitian pearls, rings and bracelets and necklaces with clasps and everything. So it was pretty great full circle that I learned from a GUMP'S person, and then they asked me to be a designer in their catalog.
That's such a kind of an applaud, isn't it? and
Yeah.
you know, the universe showing you're absolutely on the right track in every way.
Oh, yeah.
And you developed an immediate love of pearls, and you probably already loved them, I suppose.
Yes, I love them since I was like 6. So my grandfather gave them to me, and he told me all about how to take care of them. And this is my grandfather's strand, or my strand that my grandfather gave me. It's quite yellow. It's quite damaged. And I'd heard this rumor that like body oils were great for pearls. So I would swim in this. I would play tennis in this. And it is now in our store, uncared for pearls, as the example of what not to do.
Fantastic. But how special. It's your most important, valuable strand in a way, because it's from your grandpa.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because in 1981, I was finishing school, and in the January of 82, went to Japan to learn about pearls, and didn't know really much at all, except my dad was a natural pearl dealer in London, so I knew all that. But I never had heard of Lake Biwa pearls, and my mum had lots of pearls from his farm. He had a pearl farm in Australia. We were in London, and his dad was a natural pearl dealer. So there was a lot. There was a lot of pearl love in the family, you know. And you're wearing amazing pearls today, Dilly. You look wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes.
Australian. Yeah.
Beautiful Southsea pearls, bracelets, Tahitians. I love your drops. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Fantastic. And when did you start Elizabeth Blair Fine Pearls and get your first sale?
Okay, so,
and where as well?
Pardon me, where was my first sale?
And where did you come back to Michigan and open, or after a long time in California?
So I actually just a story about Boring Buffet. A sorority sister of mine came up because she was sick of polishing silver in the back room at Tiffany's in Beverly Hills, and I said, "Oh, just interview." So she came up to San Francisco, and long story short, I got married and left. She took my place. She went to a meet and greet in San Francisco and met Robert Wan's son, and she got intrigued with the idea of Tahitian pearls. She then went to Tahiti, and this is a great story. She's like looking up through his merchandise, and she's like, "What's that over there?" And he said, "Oh, that's not the right color. That's nothing we're going to export." And she said, "I'll take it all." She came back to the United States, and she named them Pistachio. So Fabulous. We know now where that color came from. Then she needed me to help her. So I started wholesaling because I was married and living in Fort Lauderdale. I started wholesaling on the East Coast. Nobody had a jeweler in their store anymore. The mom and pops don't have jewelers anymore. So I started drilling and mounting up earrings and making simple designs. And then her business got really great. And we started the Tucson Holiday Inn. You know that? Right?
Yes, fantastic. The great exhibitors place, yeah.
Yes. And so there I met Sunny from Tara.
Yes.
And I met Cyril Rosenthal, who had a family pearl farm in Tahiti.
We're cousins.
I met Ron. Pardon me?
We're cousins, Cyril and I. We're like second cousins. Fantastic.
Oh, great. That's so great. Ron and Jeff from Amico were there, and Neil Malou was just starting Baggins on a little teeny tiny tray. And then Paul Bronstein was roaming around. And so I knew all these characters like in my 20s.
Yes.
And they would help me like learn and help me understand a strand and how to do a strand. And so I started building more jewelry, got a workshop for me, and I started showing at the Holiday Inn.
Yes.
And with Pam and Ocean Gem. And then I worked at Neiman's for a year or so. And I met Steve Magner and Larry Pelzel, and one of my other mentors was Peter Bruckner, who was a fine Hungarian gentleman. Does that name ring a bell?
Yes, for sure.
Peter. Okay, so he was a really elegant gentleman at Neiman's in Bal Harbor, Florida, and he mentored me in other stones
Yes.
and designs and selling in a retail environment. And then I had met all those guys, and I kind of parlayed all of that relationship into getting a vendor number for Neiman Marcus precious jewels. So I lived in Fort Lauderdale, and in 1989, I started Elizabeth Blair Fine Pearls, but it was only called Elizabeth Blair at the time. And I would drive to Palm Beach and Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale and Coral Gables and Bal Harbor, you know, to try to sell my jewelry. And eventually my business was wholesaling to Neiman Marcus precious jewels in those areas in Florida. As Florida became more prosperous and developed, more of those stores, of course, opened up. But it was a fabulous, fabulous business for me. And I was a onesie, you know, I had a workshop that did the work for me. I did my stringing. I did the layouts. I did the trunk shows. I did the shipping. I did everything.
Fantastic.
So,
and of course, you were right in the kind of the golden age, the 80s and 90s, when it started leaving the dominance of the big Japanese companies, and the pearls started being exported, all around the world. And so people like me in Australia were having great relationships with people like Paul Bronstein and Sunny Sethi and Emiko's and all your friends, and Anil from Orient had just started.
yes.
And it really was, you were like right in the mix of the golden age in many ways.
Totally. The prices were phenomenal. The demand was extraordinary, right? The people were like salivating and lining up at booths, and it was like,
yes,
It
yes.
was crazy. We couldn't get the suitcases open fast enough at the shows. And I started going to Hong Kong, and I know I've met you there in Hong Kong for
yes,
sure.
for sure. Yes.
Yeah, and met Nick Pasquale there, and just all sorts
all the greats. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because a lot of us, like Sunny, how crazy it was in Hong Kong and at all the fairs, and you'd sell out of goods and we couldn't get enough, and the farmers couldn't cultivate them quickly enough, and the quotas weren't big enough. And my nephew Charlie has Charlie Barron Pearls, and he's 25, turning 26 this week in London. And he says, you guys, you're all talking about the 80s and the amazing auctions and the amazing early 90s. He said, when's it going to come for me? But I said, hold on, you're only 25, 26, it'll come. And he's already had a fabulous business, and he's on British TV. So just wait, Charlie Barron, it'll all come. So every generation, somebody loves the pearls, which is good. But you, Dilly, you've got like an amazing love of pearls, haven't you? It really has been your signature item. And when did you get back to Michigan and open an exclusive pearl store?
I got here in 2007. And it was my husband had been the president of a cruise line that was going to take ships to Tahiti.
Yes.
And Robert Wan and President Floss were on board when we got married, and we were all going to have this great life. And then 2001, 9/11 happened, and the cruise line went out of business. And we moved up here to kind of regroup. And this little store on Main Street was open, and I designed it to be just a little teeny showroom. And I was in my mind going to be a wholesaler still, just, okay, I'll have a few little things about here and there. And it turns out that it was very great that I opened a retail business in 2007. Great because it was the bottom of the market. The crest of 2008 was just coming, and I had no idea what it would be like. And so it didn't matter. I mean, the ignorance was bliss for sure. that I just started slow, slow, and just kept building it. And every year was better and better. So I started out from rock bottom, basically, but it was great psychologically because I didn't know any better, you know? So in 2011, we won coolest small store, 3rd place, specifically because it was a pearl store. And then they put me on panels all the time, like, please tell us how to sell pearls. I'm like, well, don't just do one showcase of white Akoya and get sad that you're not selling pearls. You got to really spice it up and mix it up and buy colorful pearls, natural color, right?
Fantastic. And I see that in all your designs. They're all full of pep and full of life and very interesting. Because when we all started, it was just, you know, one necklace of matching pearls. And it's come an awful long way thanks to people exactly like you. You've really made pearls so much more fashionable and for more wearable for a younger audience rather than just a straight, not boring old necklace, but that's not fair. But, you know, just everybody needs a bit of variety.
Put like one pearl over here that's asymmetrical and
yes,
kind of fun. My mission, David, when I started was to bring pearls, South Sea pearls, to everyday wear, because I was really fighting as a young woman who couldn't afford Harry Winston diamond encrusted things. I mean, I wanted people to get their money's worth out of a beautiful South Sea pearl. So I was making it more for day wear in yellow gold. And it really worked.
Yes.
It really worked for me.
Have you changed your mission in a way since, or have you just widened your range? And your clientele must have grown exponentially as well.
Yeah, I do have a beautiful clientele, and it's very, it's a huge spectrum. So I sell really, really, really high end. And then I sell really friendly, younger starter things, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I say starter, I want them to start when they're like 16.
Yes.
And the cute thing about this neighborhood is that the people here are pretty conservative and they love their pearls. And that is one thing they will never put in auction or try to sell to an estate dealer. They're like, oh no, the pearls are with our family. And that kind of gives me the goosebumps because there's multi-generations here and the grandmas come in and we have a whole program where we teach the young ladies how to take care of the pearls and how to take them off and keep them clean and don't store them with suede and, you know, all that.
Lovely.
It's very fun.
That's so special.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what happened to you in the COVID year, Dilly? What did you have to close the store and be all online, or what happened?
We were shut down for 1 month. We were in a zone of Michigan where we were not a hot spot at all. And so Andrew, my associate, and I would take turns coming to work. So there was only one of us here at a time. We'd mask up. We did a lot of inventory work. We did a lot of emails. We did a lot of just back end bookkeeping and getting ready. And we did do exactly last year what we did the year before. I do not know how it happened. I think people were like feeling sorry for us. And anytime someone would come in, we'd say, oh, you've made our week. You've made our month. Whether they had or not, we just wanted to acknowledge them for getting out and coming to see us.
Yes, yes.
We don't sell high end online. We just have a little, you know, under $1,000 on our website. So.
And it seems everybody in the business this last year, it made everybody, you know, especially slower companies to the internet, look at their website and jazz it up somewhat, depending on the length of time. Of course, in Europe, they're coming back to life, but have been closed for so long. but some companies in New York had so much time off, so to speak, and it does seem that it's sort of changed the world in many ways. And of course, you can't have auctions at the moment for the pearls except online, so it's more difficult, definitely.
Yes, yeah. It's convinced me, being an older generation, I was like, ugh. It's convinced me to use Instagram. It's convinced me to invest more in our e-commerce and to do just a more digital advertising. So from a business perspective, I've had to kind of grapple with new fandangled ways that you know, I'm kicking and screaming, but I get it now. I know how to do it now, and it's like something to embrace for sure.
Absolute ditto, I can say to that. I'm right with you there. Dilly, as a last question, it's been so lovely getting to know you and chat with you today, but can I ask you what your message is to the next generation of jewelers or people contemplating the pearl business? If someone young came to you and said, shall I do it or shall I go to Xerox, what would you say to them?
Okay, I would say pick a career, or have a career pick you, in my case, that you truly, truly love. So if you're specifically in our business, I think you have to know that you really love pearls. Andrew came from a diamond, my associate came from a diamond world. He worked at Borsheim, and he's like slowly converting to the pearl, the love of the pearl. And I can see it in his eyes when he's like, look at this color, look at this great. So you have to love your work. And I think starting out, you have to pretend like you're successful. Just flat out pretend you're successful, and you will become successful because you're going to be passionate about it. And I think you should really try to work with people that you like. There are some really dicey characters in the gem world, and I think the pearl world is a safer environment. I feel like we're more like teammates in our pearl world. The respect is there, the trust is there, the mentorship is there, and don't you just, I mean, after being in the business this long, don't you still love a killer pearl? Like, it's thrilling to find.
Completely. And I think that's what keeps us ever young and ever new. And when we're selling the pearls, you see that iridescence and all the rainbow colors. And we're selling on Gem Shopping Network in Atlanta and on TVSN here in Australia, Television Shopping Network. And when I'm actually in the studio, even if it's by WebEx, the way we go into Atlanta, or in real life, when I'm with the pearls and I'm holding them, or the samples of what's on the American TV, I start waxing lyrical about all the beautiful iridescence. But it is still amazing that you can keep on getting the energy from the pearls, and spiritual energy healers tell me how much energy comes out of pearls. And I visited a friend called Samantha in Canberra with my daughter yesterday. Canberra is our Washington, DC, our capital. And she had kept a Keshi and Tahitian pearl necklace for 6 months for me and was energizing it. And then it was amazing how much energy pours out of the pearls. So, and they're like this amazing connector to the oceans and the tides and the moon. And there's something about them, I think, that keeps us all ever new, ever young. We did an interview with Robert Wan, who's turned 80, and he still has so much passion and love. And Nick Paspaley and I, whenever we're together, we talk about the pearls. And it's an amazing brotherhood, sisterhood that we've all got with pearls.
Yes.
We're very lucky.
Yes. Another character that I want to do a shout out for is Robbie Shaffian.
Oh, wonderful.
And his ability to carry the color of the pearl he sees it in Hong Kong, and his necklace he wants to embellish is in New York, and he can do it. I mean, he just can carry it. It's fantastic.
And the creations Robbie makes are really beautiful. He's now in Hong Kong, but we've had an amazing association over the years. He's a real gentleman too.
Yeah, he's great.
Fabulous.
I want to tell you one thing that your cousin Cyril said to me when we were in our 20s. Well, I was in my 20s. He was probably in his teens, but he said, Dilly, we were not meant to work. We were born to play. And I said, perhaps that's why I've had such a great time in my career.
That's so beautiful, Dilly. That's so, it's so lovely. And it doesn't feel like work, does it?
No.
It's the easiest in the world. And I think that's why your advice for young people to do what you love and sort of fake it till you make it, but do what you love is such wise advice. It's beautiful.
Yes. I have one more piece of advice. Pay your invoices early.
That's very wise, isn't it?
Get so much respect for that.
Yes.
People go out of their way to help you if you are correct that way, I think. And it's really served me well to, then you get beautiful things on approval, and it's all really a good policy, I think.
And when your suppliers find something rare and amazing that they can't give to more than one person, they'll think of you and want you to have it. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
We've been introduced by our lovely friend Danny Moshi, who I see him whenever I'm in LA, but I haven't traveled since last Valentine's Day last year. But we used to have these beautiful Japanese lunches in this restaurant today, and he's a great supplier for me and so knowledgeable. And I'm so grateful to Danny. I have to shout out to Danny for introducing us, Dilly, properly as well.
Thank you so much for saying that, and thank you, Danny Moishi, for this introduction to David. And Danny's just the most positive, encouraging person. I mean, he was like the backbone of everything's going to be okay during COVID. You'll be fine. And keep making jewelry, and what do you need? And he would send the perfect thing that we needed right then. So
fantastic.
He's great.
We're in a very lovely world of pearl men and women. And Dilly, I have to say you're a shining star in the pearl world, and it's been such a great privilege and an honor and pleasure to chat with you today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, David, so very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.